Fans of Israeli football team Maccabi Tel Aviv have been banned from attending next month's Europa League game against Aston Villa in Birmingham over safety concerns. Safety advisory group told Aston Villa no travelling fans will be permitted at Villa Park for match with Maccabi Tel Aviv on November 6th. The safety advisory group informed Aston Villa that no travelling supporters will be permitted at Villa Park after it was classified as a high-risk event. Now, this has sparked a whirlwind of political discourse and a media frenzy of false accusations of anti-Semitism.
After what happened in Manchester, you know, that I put out a tweet, and it wasn't just a tragic day. It felt, you know, very much like an important moment, and one where, as you'll be aware, lots of Jewish people are asking whether or not there is a future for them in this country. That's a real conversation that takes place in private. Now, obviously, I'm here, proudly Jewish, and I feel confident and I will remain hopeful about the future of this nation. But at the same time, when it seems as if the authorities who are there to protect you, that are there as part of community policing, are not able to, that does enduring violence to the sense of safety to our community that we experience every single day. And that's something which has to be very seriously considered by the police in the course of making this decision.
I mean, zero pushback there. I didn't expect, obviously, any pushback from Caroline Flint. And to be fair, if you were to go on TV and push back, you'd be labelled an anti-Semite. But I thought it was, you know, bringing up disgusting start that again. I thought it was disgusting when he brought up the anti-Semitic attack in Manchester. You know, it was horrific, right? But I thought bringing that up was so egregious. Now, to the surprise of no one, Twitter has had an utter meltdown over this. Now, the Prime Minister tweeted this. "This is the wrong decision. We will not tolerate anti-Semitism on our streets. The role of the police is to ensure all football fans can enjoy the game without fear or violence or intimidation." Rupert Lowe also tweeted. He said, "We shouldn't be banning groups of football fans from Britain because Muslims might get offended." I found that one very ironic because I thought Lowe was a nationalist. So surely he would support protecting British Muslims against foreign hooligans. Of course, it's not nationalism, though, for him. It's ethno-nationalism. I think we really understand that. But there's more. David Collier, supposed journalist, but he exists purely to provide propaganda for Israel. He said, police in Birmingham could not guarantee that local Islamic thugs would not attack visiting Jewish football fans. So they banned the Jewish fans from going. This is unacceptable capitulation and cowardice. We should have escorted the Jewish fans with the army if need be. We're going to get into that, but I just think it's fucking wild. We live in a different universe to these people. Now, many have attacked Birmingham Independent MP Ayoub Khan as he initially called for the ban. I welcome the news that Maccabi Tel Aviv fans will not be permitted to watch the match at Aston Villa. Well done to all those that signed our petition. And my God, it was met with fury. Ayoub thinks that Jews should be banned from football matches. He is an unintegrated, racist anti-Semite. A Tory MP is saying this, by the way. He's unintegrated. This is an acid test for the government. After all they said these past weeks, are Jews safe and welcome in Britain? Ian Dale, he took to Twitter and he said, want to know what an anti-Semitic racist CUNT looks like? Below, right? I mean, I think it's really ironic that Ian Dale is calling someone else a CUNT. Projection. This next tweet. Ayoub was born in Pakistan rather than block soccer fans from coming to the UK. How about the UK sends him back to Pakistan? That's straight up racist now. But this next one is so incredible from Michael Gove. Comedian Tez Ilyas says, isn't conflating Jews with Israel anti-Semitic? Michael Gove simply responds by saying, nope. So, look, it's literally anti-Semitic to conflate Jewish people with Israel. But Michael Gove is downplaying anti-Semitism when it suits him. And guess what? No one in the media or politician will call out his anti-Semitism. Now, look, those were just a couple of examples. There was a hell of a lot more, but when writing this script and show, it was giving me a fucking headache trying to go through his tweets because it was just sending me insane. But you know, there's plenty more, as you can imagine. You can search up for yourself if you want to laugh. But the conflation of all Jewish people with Israel and now a football team is going to have its own chapter in history. So, why were the fans of Maccabi Tel Aviv banned? Is Aston Villa anti-Semitic? No, it's because those fans are violent hooligans. West Midlands police said they partly based their decision about next month's match on what happened last year when violent clashes between pro-Palestinian demonstrators and Israeli fans erupted around the UEFA Europa League football match between Dutch club Ajax and Maccabi Tel Aviv. Maccabi fans were also filmed at the time tearing a Palestinian flag off a building in Amsterdam, setting another on fire and chanting anti-Arab slogans on their way to the stadium. Now, chanting anti-Arab slogans is putting it mildly. They were calling for the death of them. Sick fucking ghouls, if you ask me. Now, Sky News did a report on the violent acts of those fans, and the clip was subsequently deleted by Sky.
Violence in Amsterdam left at least 5 people injured and dozens have been arrested. But what happened? Supporters of Israeli football club Maccabi Tel Aviv arrived in Amsterdam ahead of their UEFA Europa League match against Amsterdam club Ajax. On Wednesday, social media videos verified by Sky News show Maccabi Tel Aviv fans tearing down Palestinian flags from outside of homes. Other social media videos appeared to show residents chasing Maccabi Tel Aviv fans. On Thursday, just before the game, crowds of Maccabi fans were filmed singing racist and anti-Arab songs. While a pro-Palestinian demonstration had been banned by the mayor over fears there would be clashes. Later that evening during the match, Israeli supporters appeared to disrupt the minute silence for Valencia flood victims with chants, whistles and fireworks. Maccabi fans were seen attacking locals as a police car can be seen driving by. People with Palestinian flags were seen marching on the streets. Maccabi supporters say they were beaten and attacked on the streets of the Dutch capital, with videos showing some of the violence.
Say free Palestine and we go. Good.
Sky News could not independently verify all of the footage shown. Police arrested 62 people. 5 were taken to hospital, but have since been discharged. Israeli far-right ultras are notorious for their racism and physical violence. Dutch, Israeli and British leaders denounced the attacks as anti-Semitic and even referred to it as a pogrom. But their statements failed to mention the assaults by the Israeli hooligans against Dutch citizens.
As I said, right, that video from Sky was deleted. Very lucky that someone downloaded it. And it's not the only thing that was deleted. There's so much security footage that was deleted too. So when someone says, oh, there weren't many arrests, it's because they couldn't carry on with the investigation into the hooligans from Tel Aviv in Amsterdam because the security footage was deleted. Wonder why. And by the way, because look, we covered that segment on our show last time, right? Anyone calling that a pogrom is 1, fucking sick, and 2, spits on the graves of those in World War II, Nazi Germany, who faced real pogroms. But a bunch of pissed up hooligans, I don't know if they're drunk, but a bunch of hooligans chanting death to Arabs, ripping down Palestinian flags, And yeah, someone's going to get mad and probably punch them back. Pogroms? Insane. Now, look, there is precedent for this. Football fans have been banned many times when there's an issue of safety being a concern. So the Ministry of the Interior in Rome suspended the Schengen Agreement for 2 days to prevent Frankfurt hooligans from getting into the country, right? So Italy changed their border policy. They literally changed their border policy for football hooligans. But, are they going to say it's anti-German? No. So what about England fans? So yeah, back in 2024 during the Euros, thousands of England fans were banned due to hooliganism. So what? Is this racist? Is this anti-English? Hooliganism, is fine when it's Israel, but when you apply the same treatment to one of their football teams, the anti-Semitism alarm bell sounds. Now, it turns out that Starmer and those whining on Twitter are out of step with the people. This poll here, you can see that Britons support banning Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from attending next month's Aston Villa match. 42% support and 28% oppose. You've got Keir Starmer, who's basically ultimate cop. He's like the boss level of cop, and he's going against the police when it comes to this, and he's still out of step with the public. But unlike this government and many cheerleaders in the media, it's because people aren't big fans of genocide. Kevin, this must be one of the stupidest weaponizations of anti-Semitism.
Yes, it really is. We live in bizarro land, frankly.
We live in normal islands.
We live on normal island. There you go. See, he's got the sales pitch down. I love it. Anyway, yes, as a football fan and a Bromley, albeit very much not a fan of Aston Villa, this story has driven me absolutely insane because it's such nonsense from beginning to end. Every aspect of this. Any person who has come out opposing this ban either doesn't know anything about football or is weaponizing this for false victimhood narrative, because this has got nothing to do with anti-Semitism. This is about Zionism, plain and simple. That's the framing we need to put on this, because that's the truth of the matter. As you pointed out, there is an ironclad consensus in Westminster that this is a terrible thing and this is awful and anti-Semitic, and it's basically like the Holocaust Mark II or some absurd, utter shite. And it's in complete opposition to the British public, 42% of which oppose this nonsense. There are literally emergency meetings in Whitehall today by government ministers to try and see what they could do to overturn this decision. Interestingly, there were not emergency meetings today in Westminster to try and deal with the fact that numbers were published, that the number of homeless children in this country has reached an all-time high. It has increased by 8% in the first year of a Labour government, to the highest it has ever been. That did not draw a single emergency meeting, apparently, because that's not important. What's important is mollycoddling some of the worst fascists in the world. And they are, and we'll get to it in just a second. The hypocrisy is ludicrous. As you pointed out, Eintracht Frankfurt's fans were banned from attending the game in Napoli last year. You had the example of Ajax from Amsterdam, who were banned from travelling to the game against Marseille. There are various examples of this across Europe. Most tellingly, I think, Legia Warsaw fans were banned from entering the stadium that we're literally talking about right now. Legia Warsaw fans from one of the largest clubs in Poland, the capital of Poland, were banned from entering Villa Park last year. I did not hear a single one of these people talking about this being an anti-Pole pogrom. Not a single one of them had a single sentence to say, because naturally they said, well, Legia Warsaw fans have been violent, they shouldn't be given access to the stadium. Because that's the thing. When an English fan so much as sneezes in the wrong direction next to a police officer in Europe, these same people are out here screaming about how violence and racism and blah, 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 blah has no place in our game, decrying it for good boy points in the media. But when it's Maccabi Tel Aviv and the Israeli handlers of our democracy, have something to say about it, it becomes a very different thing, because there's one rule for everybody else and one rule for Israel. Just to give you an example, you mentioned there, I think, some fine examples of the racism that's been engaged in by fans of Maccabi Tel Aviv. And content warning for what I'm about to read out, but this is word for word, verbatim, a thing that they sing about their local rivals, Hapoel Tel Aviv, which is a different club, a more leftist club, although leftist by Israeli standards, of course. Still Zionist, but leftist Zionist, if that even makes any sense. And they sing this song, which is colloquially known as the rape song. So, just be prepared for that. The exact words are, we will fuck you and drink your blood. In the city square, we will hang every communist who goes there. We will take your girls who like to party. When we rape them, we will sing, that day is death to Hapoel. That's a song they sing every game. There is video of this. This is not made up. This is a thing that they sing. And these are the people who our politicians are going unanimously to bat for. These are the people who are being defended. They want fetid garbage like that to enter our country. Not only should they not be allowed to enter the country, Maccabi Tel Aviv, the club, should not be allowed to enter the country. Israel should be banned by UEFA and FIFA from all competitions internationally, and all Israeli teams should be banned from continental competition as well, as was done with the Russian team after its invasion of Ukraine. But again, it's one rule for everybody else, one rule for Israel. And this is the wider point that I think needs bearing in mind here. We need a root and branch clean out of our so-called democracy, because we don't have a democracy. We have an Israelocracy. The Zionist entity, the genocidal, murderous entity known as Israel, owns our political class. They're all in absolute lockstep about allowing violent, racist lunatics carte blanche. Because this isn't about the people of Birmingham attacking Maccabi Tel Aviv fans. It's about the opposite. Because everywhere they go, whether it's Amsterdam last year or a very notorious example where they attacked Arab or Arab-looking people in an away game where they went to Athens. They were playing Olympiakos, I believe, in Athens. Or Panathinaikos, one of the two teams. And they attacked people. They went essentially hunting for Arabs in Athens, physically assaulting them. When you turn up in people's cities, you rip down Palestine flags, you chant racist rubbish, you are violent towards the locals, they're going to react to that. These people, the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans, have a history of this. They are violent, racist lunatics, and they need to be stopped. This is clearly and obviously the correct and proper decision that's been made by West Midlands Police, an organisation I really have no time for whatsoever, West Midlands Police, but on this particular occasion, you have to hand it to them. They've made the correct call. And the fact that a government that doesn't feel it necessary to intervene on operational matters when it suits them, are all of a sudden having emergency meetings in Whitehall to try and allow violent, racist lunatics the run of the second largest city in the nation. When you're asked who you think the British government serve, it's not the ballooning number of homeless children in this country. It's Israel. And that needs to stop.
Yeah, no. We literally have a prime minister that stands with hooligans who are chanting rape songs. A prime minister, a media class, and politicians that stand with thugs singing about rape and celebrating it. Insane. And I find it very funny as well, as the so-called nationalists are standing up for Israel hooligans over British people, specifically, of course, British Muslims.